although the next dimension, which, first of all, we're the souls in purgatory. They've told me that. Some people it's hell, I'm sure. But my mother, may she rest in peace, she always used to say, she was super duper Catholic, she always said, always offer up for the souls in purgatory. And then one day I heard, one of the voices from the hereafter say, well, if you're doing that, you're offering it up for yourself and everybody else that's in the world, because you're the souls in purgatory. And for any of us that recall the teaching on purgatory, it basically was a proving ground, where you totally, cleansed yourself, so I think, where you're growing, where you're progressing, and that's what it's all about. Because, this one may make a few people's hair curl, but a couple came a few weeks ago for a private session, and their son came through and admitted that he had contributed to ending his own life. And I don't like to use the S word. And the reason I don't is because he struggled with depression and anxiety for years. And that, to me, is illness. And can it kill you? Oh, you bet it can. But the thing that I found out afterwards, my assistant told me, is that the father, again, they were very devoutly Catholic. He had gone to the priest, I guess, looking for consolation, and told the priest what happened to his son. And lo and behold, the priest said that his son was burning in purgatory. Which, first thing that came through my mind is compassion of Christ. Lovely. But one, I just don't want everybody to think that it's, always just fun and games over there. I mean, it's all up to you, just as it is here. I've had people bellyache over there who have come through and said, that when they got over there, they thought they were dreaming, and then ended up, where they said when they realized it was reality, it's like, they wanted to file a complaint with the management. Because they didn't feel they should be there. And, you're not supposed to be there if you're not supposed to be there. And another lady that came, as much as I start to think I've heard the worst, sooner or later one comes along that clears out all the others. But this, I don't mean this offensively, but she was so cute. This little old lady came for a session. And this man came through, and he said he was her husband. But before he said anything, he said to me, I want you to tell her that I always loved her and I still do. And I said in my mind, okay, the cynical part of me, I'm sure if you were in my shoes, you'd feel the same way. What wife doesn't want to hear that from her husband if he's passed on, whatever? And I was like, that sounds so like run-of-the-mill. Who doesn't want to hear that? He actually got a little uppity with me from over there. And kind of like yelled at me a little bit. And I said, thank God I came from a yelling household because his behavior's normal. So he said, no, you don't understand. Just say what you heard me say to her. And basically in a nice way told me to shut up after that. Don't think about it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't put your opinion into it, whatever. So I said that to her, and she seemed to react, just react. And then he started coming out with what I could not believe I was hearing. He came back again. And it's so funny because even after he said that, you could feel like somebody was there and like he had 2 feet in one shoe. I'm wondering, wonder what's going on with this. And then I heard somebody else over there say to him, you better speak now, forever hold your peace, because you may never have this opportunity again. He came back at me and he said that he extended the olive branch, which is a sign of peace, apology, whatever, and he told me that they had, and it wasn't her fault, it was his, a lousy marriage. And he said to me he was incredibly abusive to her, physically, emotionally, mentally. And then he said to me, don't censor the word out. So tell her I confessed to her and acknowledged that I was a real, begins with P and ends with K, to her. At first I didn't want to say it, and he's like, I told you, don't censor it. But I realized he's trying to redeem himself over there. And it's never too late. But he admitted to me that if he had ever gotten his hands around her throat, he would have killed her. Because she was saying to him, he was saying to her, be grateful that I'm dead, for that reason alone. And had a young woman came not too long ago, and a young guy came through, turned out it had been her boyfriend. He admitted, he said to her too, count your blessings that I'm dead. And I'm thinking, wonder what this is all about. And he confessed that he was extremely possessive, jealous, out of control. And even though, she would just go along with it to keep him happy, or so she thought. But he said, be thankful I'm gone, because if you had married me, your life would have been miserable. And nobody deserves that.